Ladies and gentlemen, we are finally here. After the previous 8 days of races, the top 8 are set, and we are ready to go into the grand finals. The first group is ready. We have the Audi, the Jaguar, the Tesla, and the Lucid Air. 4 very formidable racers. Let's see what happens now when they all go up against each other. They are pretty much staying side by side already, which is a good sign that this will be competitive. Audi's out in front, but here comes the Jaguar, trying to keep up with them. Then here comes the Tesla. Lucid Air is right behind them. The Lucid Air does have the advantage of the tight turn, but does not take full advantage of it. Tesla's out in front, but the Jaguar's trying to spin him around. He does. They both go sideways. They're all going right up against each other, but the Tesla manages to finish in first, and somehow the Jaguar fell behind and finished in last. The other 2 racers were able to pull in front of him, which puts them in a better position for the second race. So whichever vehicles finish in the top 2 will move on to the final race of the entire tournament. So far, the Tesla and the Lucid Air have put themselves in a good position to do that, but considering how each of the racers got here, how hard they worked, I wouldn't be surprised if this goes back and forth a little bit. These guys are staying almost dead even, which kind of makes sense considering how well each of them did to get here. Although right now the Tesla's out in front, can the Jaguar try to spin him out again? He's unable to do that. In fact, the Jaguar spins out on his own, does at least finish in second this time, but the Tesla does finish in first, also under the 14-second mark, I'd like to point out. And I wouldn't be surprised if we see a lot more of that in these grand finals. So this is interesting. The Tesla is out in front with 10 points, but the other 3 have somehow managed to make it so they're all tied with 4. So the door is currently wide open for anyone to move on. I mean, the Tesla's in a very good position for sure, but the other 3 are fighting for second place right now. Tesla is in front, has the widest turn though, stays at least in front of the Lucid Air, who's somehow falling behind now. The other 3 are clambering together in that final turn, spin each other out. Somehow the Audi found an opening in that little commotion there and finished in first, denying the Tesla any chance of a sweep, which I think the Audi has actually done in previous races. So with that first place finish, the Audi has greatly increased their odds to move on. It's not necessarily guaranteed though, especially after those first 2 races, but any first place finish can really help you here. The other racers still have a shot to mess things up a little bit for them, but as long as the Audi finishes, he should be fine. Going into that big turn, right now the Jaguar's right behind them, but they're not able to keep up. They spin each other out into that final turn. Here comes a huge pileup. The Tesla's out in front, able to take the win, and the Audi's in 4th. Are they going to be able to hold on to their spot in the grand final race? I'm not entirely sure. We'll have to look at the score. Yes, they barely hold on to it. So they will race in the grand finals along with 2 members from our second group. And in that second group, we have 2 separate Teslas, a Lucid Air and a Kia. The one to watch out for is that Tesla Cybertruck, because they have been shown to be an absolute monster on this track. Not necessarily getting any sweeps, I'm sure, although correct me if I'm wrong in the comments below, but they still at least hold the fastest time we've seen so far, which I think was a 13.52, so they have been shown that they are capable of breaking the 13.5-second mark. It doesn't look like they'll do it here, thanks to that skidding sideways at the end and bouncing off the wall. But they certainly got really close with a 13.76. Meanwhile, the other 3 racers come in, and one of them actually tumbled past the camera a little bit. Hopefully the driver's okay. It seems like they are, so we'll go into our second race. Heat 2 now. Everyone has switched lanes. The Tesla's going to have the wide turn here, but the tight turn in that one later on that kills a lot of speed for people. So they will have the upper hand going into the latter half of the race. And they already have a decent sized lead that they're gradually extending. No one is able to touch them They are getting a little loose on that snaking part of the track, but they do spin around. But because they're moving so quickly, no one is able to touch them. Did they break 13.5? It looks like they did. What kind of time do they have? A 13.44. That is the new fastest time in this entire tournament, once again held by the Cybertruck. I typically don't like to call things out too early, but based on these performances, I would not be surprised if the Cybertruck goes on to win the entire thing. Because for the most part, no one is able to touch them. They can't even get close. The biggest chance most of them will probably have is if the Cybertruck somehow gets loose or slows to a near stop. Oh wait, look, just as I say that, that's exactly what happens. The sheer timing of that after me saying that is incredible. The Tesla Cybertruck does not finish. They shook loose and managed to somehow end up on their side. For the most part, they handle the track relatively well, but that one snaking section often gets them loose. That could hurt them later on if they don't stay straight and on their wheels. Despite that finish though, because of the first two finishes, the Cybertruck has still solidified a decent shot at moving on. But because of that non-finish, the Lucid Air still has an opportunity to move on. They may not be able to stop both Tesla vehicles, but they might be able to stop at least one of them. And even though the Kia probably isn't going to move on at this point, they can still contribute to stopping the other Teslas. The Cybertruck does finish in first again with a 13.55, so not a record breaker, but still very, very good by most other times' standards. With that final race though, the Cybertruck and the Tesla are both moving on. Here we go. The final race is here. And in this final group, it looks like the Audi will have their work cut out for them, as they will have to stop not one, not two, but three separate Teslas, and one of them is the incredibly deadly Cybertruck. Right now the Cybertruck is fighting for the first place spot. It's hard to just say Tesla anymore because there's three of them. But Tesla's out in front. They completely go off the rails. What in the world just happened there? They somehow went off their own lane and went into another one entirely. And they're somehow still going. What happened to the Audi? That may be one of the weirdest finishes I've ever seen. I think it's entirely possible that somehow the Cybertruck was able to jump lanes and block the Audi from finishing. That may be one of the fanciest yet dirtiest moves I've ever seen in a race like this. I don't even know what's going to happen for the rest of this competition, but I don't think anything is going to beat the craziness of what just happened. We've definitely had some crazy events before in this tournament, but I don't think I've ever seen any racer in the history of these races jump lanes and survive. Props to the Cybertruck, but considering they also probably stopped the Audi in their tracks, I'm sure they'll be losing a lot of respect for that move. Some might be amazed, some might not. And they broke the 13.5 second mark again, though it's still not quite the fastest time. That is insane though. And with that win, the Cybertruck is in a much better position than they were in the first race. So at this point, the Audi is very much in trouble, as all three Tesla racers are in front of them in terms of points. And considering, once again, the Tesla Cybertruck is one of those three, they really do have their work cut out for them. And they don't have any non-Tesla teammates to help them here. The Tesla almost pops off the rail again. Had they done that, I don't think they would have been able to recover from that. But they do finish first again, and the Audi's in last, so it looks like we are going to have a Tesla win the entire tournament, likely to be the Cybertruck. Let's look at the points again, just to be sure. And here we go. This is very likely the last race of the tournament. The Cybertruck is in a really good position to win the whole thing. All they have to do is finish better than last. If they finish in even third place or better, they will win the entire thing. They do have the wide turn there. Let's see if someone can take advantage of that, but their lead is just so big, it may not even matter. If they derail here, which they don't, so they go into this final stretch, they are in front, and the Tesla Cybertruck will move on to win the whole thing. Ladies and gentlemen, we have our ultimate winner. With a final time of 13.6, not the fastest time they had, but they are our ultimate winner, and they hold on to the fastest time in the entire tournament. Thank you everybody so much for watching. Thank you Arctic Warriors for picking Team Tesla Cybertruck. Congrats to you. We'll see you all next time.